So let us start with the equatorial upwelling. Okay, so near the equator, you have the trade winds. Okay, trade winds blow along the equator from east to west. And there's a little sketch here. The first sketch on the left that shows you the equatorial region and the trade winds. Okay? So now you have to apply your knowledge. You know Ekman layers. Okay, Ekman layers. The Ekman drift is the net movement in these layers is to the right with respect to the wind direction in the northern hemisphere and to the left in the southern hemisphere. So near the equator, what happens that the trade winds actually operate to move surface water away from the equator, okay, to the north and to the south of the equator, and the upwelling mechanism replaces this water. Okay, it's the upwelling, and upwelling is, as I said before, relatively shallow along the equator. It's only 100 meters deep, but it brings nutrient-enriched water to the surface, and it lowers the sea surface temperature generally in the Pacific Ocean by 1 to 2 degrees Celsius. You can identify it in satellite. Okay, so now comes the other important part. It's called zonation of trophic levels. So now your grandma calls you and says, hey grandma, okay, now I just got a phone call. Here, let's see. Okay, yeah, hi grandma. What? So she wants to go on a trip in her rubber ducky. Okay, she wants to go fishing, and she heard about equatorial upwelling, and she wants to go to the equator to catch fish. Okay, so you go with your grandma to the equator, no fish. Oh, what a waste of money. You go to the equator, no bloody fish there. Okay, so now there's something really, really important, is because from the upwelling of enhanced nutrient concentrations, okay, to the creation of a phytoplankton maximum and a zooplankton maximum and a fish maximum, there is a delay. It takes a certain time. Okay, for example, for the lapse time between phytoplankton and zooplankton creation is several days. Because you have the offshore movement of water away from the equator, you can observe the phytoplankton maximum at some distance from the equator, farther away the zooplankton maximum, and farther away the fish maximum. So this is shown here in this little sketch, and you actually have to move 4 degrees north or south of the equator to actually catch your fish. Okay, what is 4 degrees? How many kilometers? Do you remember how many kilometers? What's 4 degrees in kilometers? 400 kilometers. Oh, that you're in big trouble. Mate, you're in big trouble because you're with your grandma on the equator. You have to paddle 400 kilometers. Okay, so you should have really spent more, you should have watched these lectures more closely. Okay, so this is the link between wind forcing, the wind direction, and Ekman transport in the ocean, leading to different zones of trophic levels. Okay, and something similar happens in the coastal upwelling process.